I can't say this enough. I can't say this enough. Why can't programmers just leave things alone? Leave them alone. Drop what you're doing, get up out the office and go and do something else. I am so sick to death of every single program I use being tweaked, messed with and changed all the time. It is maddening. Why can't they just leave it alone? Nothing needs improving all the time. All you're doing is taking something that someone's gotten used to using and messing with it. That's all you're doing. It needs to stop. If I have gotten used to using a tool a certain way for a very long time, so be it. If you want to offer me some change, fine. Don't impose it, you idiots. How is this not obvious to anyone? It's because there's such a massive gap between the user and the producer of the product that they're saying, oh well, we don't care, let's push the button, and everyone else's ability to use that tool is ruined. You idiots. You idiots. This is the problem with big companies. They can't stop themselves because no one has the power to stop them. They just get carried away. And this is precisely the problem with stuff like globalism. Globalism, eh? How great that is. An even bigger gap between people who are trying to do what they want to do and the morons who are just changing stuff all the time. Leave it alone. It's not difficult. Leave stuff alone. I don't want it changed. I don't want it improved. I don't want you messing with it. I don't want you offering me this and this and this and this and this and this and this. I don't want it. I want it left the way it was. If you have something to offer, present it as an option, an alternative, right? You don't go marching into someone else's use of something and just change it. The damage you do is incredible. You absolute idiots. Programmers and the people who are responsible for directing these people need to know this. They need to stop doing this. All of the software I like to use gets messed with all the time. Whether it's a stupid web browser, which now has gone from a simple tool into some ridiculous thing that does 10,000 things I would never want it to do, trying to be helpful. Get out of my face. I don't need it. I don't want it. Ever. No one wants it. You're just prancing around trying to appear like you're doing something. You're not listening to people. And people, if you actually look in the comment sections of forums about your product, people are saying, leave it alone. Stop messing with things. Stop changing functions. You idiots. Leave it alone. It's not difficult. Just stop what you're doing. Abandon it. Windows, again, a prime example. Windows was fine in the year 2000 or even before. There is nothing at all that's been done to it which is an improvement. It's all rubbish that you don't need. Leave it alone. You fools! Ever heard the expression, don't try and reinvent the wheel? I have to get this message across to these fools somehow, broadly. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Keep it simple, the customer is always right, and don't try and reinvent the wheel. It's simple stuff. We have known this for probably more than a century. We have deduced these rationales as to how to avoid problems with products that or services. Leave stuff alone. If it isn't broken, don't faff with it. Oh, but we've had lots of complaints. Fine, but a lot of people got used to how it was. Oh, but we have to change. No, you don't, you fools. You're not thinking. You're just reacting like lunatics. All you have to do is offer options. It's not difficult. Oh, but it makes it harder for us. Yeah, well, you make it harder for every single person who uses your damned product when you mess with it. It's exactly the same as if I got into my car and all of a sudden some moron had decided my steering wheel needs to be square. It's absolutely ridiculous. The software packages I use were fine. Yeah, they had issues, yeah? Fine. But if you want to change something, offer it as an option. Even if you have to go out of your way to produce a way of providing toggle switches for everything, do so. Don't presume that the user is a moron. Yeah, but most of them are. It doesn't even matter. It's the user's responsibility to read the manual, which you should provide. Oh, we don't want to produce manuals. Well, I'm sorry, you're going to have to. This is how you solve the problem. If you want to modify something, it's like biology, right? The way that whatever you think about evolution, the fact is that biological organisms do not change everything all of a sudden. You know why? Because it could destroy the organism. They keep stuff just in case. For example, human beings, we have an appendix. It serves no purpose at the moment, but you never know. These things are vestiges, or vestigial. They are from a time when we were different. If you don't believe in evolution, I'm sorry, but it doesn't work. Okay? The fact is that biological organisms have to be able to adapt, because you adapt to a situation or you die. If you can adapt, you survive. Like dinosaurs basically died out, and the only ones who could adapt were the ones who were bird-like, and they became the birds that we see today because they were able to adapt. If you become too specialized, you are kaput. You cannot cope, you have no flexibility. So when it comes to software design, the exact same thing is true, because you're programming a piece of software the same as the DNA is a program that's used to govern how a biological organism functions and is created and is. It's exactly the same. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, another one of those time-honoured expressions which is true, when you just say, we don't need that anymore, because you do. Because 90+% of the people who use your software had gotten used to doing it that way. Oh, well, we don't care. That's the attitude that's going to cripple everything. And that's why things don't work nowadays. Because fools aren't following principles which are natural. They are laws of nature. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The customer is always right. Keep it simple. And the other ones that I've mentioned before, that's so clear. The people have written books on these things, yet you idiots think, oh well, we could just do what we want because we've got a keyboard and we've got the power to do it. You idiots. It has to fundamentally be changed. We have to change the way that we organise everything, frankly, so that it makes sense, so that it's rational. We have to do this. It's stupid in the extreme to just carry on the way we have been. It's pointless. Sometimes you have to have a bit of a wake-up call and say, hang on, what we're doing is driving us over the edge of a cliff. And that's what's happening. Yeah, programmers have got their little power trip. Yay, we run everything. Well, I'm sorry guys, you're going to have to swallow a bit of humble pie. You're going to have to recognise that the truth is that you serve the people you produce software for. The same as companies in the last 20 years got the idea that they control the customer. I'm sorry, you're going to have a wake-up call as well. You don't control the customer. You exist to serve the customer, and you are privileged to have their business. So listen to the customer. Listen to people. People are telling you, like I said, in the comment sections of the forums regarding these products, they are screaming, leave the things alone. Especially the people who have more of an intellect. You can see their comments. They're like, well, I have no idea why these people have changed this thing. It makes no sense. It serves no one. It's ruined the product. And you idiots aren't paying attention. You're just saying, oh, well, that doesn't matter. I'm sorry guys, it does, because tweaking software is a very sensitive thing. You know how cancer develops in the human body? It's when a piece of code malfunctions, and it's only a simple bit of code. It's the code that tells a cell to self-destruct. And if that doesn't happen, in certain circumstances, that cell just replicates itself until you get a tumour. The point is that small changes have big repercussions, and as a programmer, programmers should know this. It's in their DNA themselves, if I can use that analogy. It's a bit of a pun, I suppose. When you change one thing in code, it can have knock-on effects that ruin the whole of the script you're writing. And I'm not a programmer. I'm going to have to learn how to be a programmer because these morons aren't thinking. The same is true in biology, and the same is true when you're writing a program that runs software. If you decide to change something, it's a sensitive thing. And these idiots are just doing what they want willy-nilly. Oh, but we've got processes and procedures. Well, they ain't working. They ain't working. And I'm telling you, the answer is to stop doing what you're doing. Stop abandoning functions here and there, right? Instead, offer options. And if you have to put in if you have to put in place a raft of toggle switches, so be it, because nothing makes me feel more empowered as a user of a software product than having toggle switches to modify the way it works. If you want an example of how important this is, other companies have produced software which allows you to toggle things. In Windows, there are third-party software packages that people have produced that allow you to toggle things in Windows. Yes, you can achieve those things by messing with the registry, okay? But why not offer them as options? Well, basically, because we don't want the people to have options. Yeah, because you've got a bit of a power trip going on, and that's a problem. So you have to have the humility to step back from that and say, hang on, we exist to serve the user, not to try and control them, not to try and manipulate them, to serve them. So why don't you do your jobs properly and start serving the user instead of trying to manipulate them and cajole them and control them and try and basically control them. You don't exist to control the user, you exist to serve them. Alright? Have the humility to recognize that, and you'll do your job better. It's that simple. So stop getting rid of functions, stop changing things, offer options. A lot of these software packages were pretty good. Yeah, they had little quirks, but you just change stuff all the time, and then you start adding nonsensical things like, oh well, we don't know what else to change, so what we'll do is we'll add an animation. What? You ever heard the expression polishing a turd? I'm sorry, but if your software is what it is, an animation ain't going to help. It is what it is. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. It's just software. Go off and do something else. It's just software. Stop trying to make it look pretty, because like another adage, yeah, form follows function. These things are the ABCs of design. Why are you people ignoring them? Because your company thinks it has to do something to survive. Well, that's ridiculous. It's illogical and it's irrational, and it has to be done away with. What's rational is giving the user control. That's the whole point of it. You're not trying to control the user, you're there to serve them. So why don't you serve them by giving them the power, giving them the control over the product that you are presenting to them. Don't try and control the user. That's all I got to say.